Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Nobody's Doing It Right, the podcast for those who are uncertain. My name is Kat. I am a writer, self-awareness guide. I write books. I offer one-to-one sessions. And then I have a newsletter, podcast, TikTok videos, a whole slew of things, all personal growth and just, insight related. I just like talking about things that I realize and sharing my experiences for anybody else who needs the help or support. Welcome. For today's episode, we are going to talk about how you are where you once wished you'd be. And this is for anybody else like myself who gets trapped in the monotony of the moment, the everyday monotony, like everything feels the same. And this is tricky when you are working toward a goal and you have a vision of what you want the end goal to look like. When you are so focused on the goal and you're seeing kind of the days trudge by slowly, and every day, you're making progress because you are getting up and you're doing what you need to do, but it doesn't feel like you are because every day feels kind of the same. It's like it just ticks by slowly. It doesn't feel like you're actually doing anything. You're making progress. And so the end goal that you have in mind is so far away. You feel like I still feel like I'm at the beginning of this goal. Like I'm not doing anything. Nothing's happening. And I think that is just kind of a trick by our egos to make us want to give up, basically, right? It is kind of a self-sabotaging thing. If you're like me and you experience this, I think it's a way for your ego to make you self-sabotage, to prove to yourself whatever self-limiting belief you have about yourself, right? If the belief is, I don't matter, nobody cares about me, nobody cares about what I have to say or what I create, then as you're making progress toward a goal that relates to that, and you're not really seeing, insane amounts of progress, your ego will try to convince you, see, nobody cares. Nobody, it doesn't matter. You don't matter. So just give up. It doesn't, do something else. Don't do this thing that's pushing you out of your comfort zone and making you grow and change and face these things. Do something different. Do something that makes us realize that, yep, see, we are pathetic. We don't deserve attention or validation or whatever. Even though we desperately want it, we don't deserve it. So just do something else. And then, of course, if you were to do that, you self-sabotage, you just repeat the cycle again. You self-sabotage, you realize like, no, actually this thing is what I want to do. You try it again. And then, the negative self-talk happens again. And then if you lean to self-sabotage again, you just repeat the same patterns over and over again. But realistically, even if you're not seeing immense amounts of progress, right? You are making progress. You are. And it is almost impossible to not be making progress if you're doing the things in your own, like that right now, because you can't know everything. You can't know the best strategies for everything all the time. If you know right now, you have a very simple strategy of how you're going to get to where you want to be, and you're doing those steps, you're taking that action, there is no way you're not making any progress. That's kind of impossible to not be making any progress knowing that you are taking action towards something based on your own belief of what will get you there, because you understand, you're seeing what a strategy could be, and this strategy of course has to align with who you are, what you like, right? If it's not something that's aligned with you and doesn't feel good, that'll make you want to do self-sabotaging tendencies again, right? Because it won't feel good to do, even if it's a simple strategy, but it's not aligned with who you are. You're not going to want to do it. So you'll just fall back into that cycle again. But if you're doing something, okay, this is what I need to do. I can already sense that this is the way I need to go about doing it. But, maybe it challenges your fear of being seen or whatever. You're making progress. But it's hard to see it because it's not happening immensely, because most of the time things don't happen that quickly. For most things that you're trying to achieve, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen quickly. Sometimes it will. Like, it depends on what it is, right? If you're a creative like me, and you're putting your work out there, you're trying to connect with people, you're trying to help people, and you're seeing very slow progress, and then you see somebody else who's doing something similar and they blow up overnight, yeah, that can happen. The internet is a different playing field, I think, when it comes to the rules of nature, maybe, but almost anything else that we try to strive for takes time, it takes patience, and it takes consistency. Even if you were to blow up overnight and you got all the attention, all the accolades, all the followers, whatever, it still takes that same consistency and patience, tenacity to continue that. Because what happens if you blow up overnight and then you lose a bunch of followers overnight, right? That'll make you feel like, okay, I need to give up now. Because if you're rooting your only purpose and validation in the blowing up overnight, then of course, if you were to lose followers, it'll really hit you hard. And then you'll go back into self-sabotage, right? But I think what's important to recognize, if you are somebody who's having slow progress and you're every day you get up and you're like, it feels like I'm at square one all the time, you're not. Because where you are right now is where you once wished you would be. You just need to take a step outside of yourself and your present moment and look at it objectively. What you're doing right now, if you've done this thing for months, you've put in effort, you put in consistency, and you're looking for a specific outcome, maybe you haven't gotten that outcome yet, I guarantee you there are other outcomes that you've gotten that you aren't paying attention to. So again, if you're to use the example of a creator, if you're a content creator and your goal is to get, I don't know, 1 million subscribers, whatever, and you're only at 10K, let's say, as an example, then of course you feel like, I'm never going to get there. I'm not going to be, nobody cares about me, nobody likes me, whatever. And you're focusing on that specific outcome and end goal. However, if you've been doing this for months and you've been putting content out, there is another outcome that you are ignoring, which is the fact that you've put yourself out there. You've created things. Your creations are out in the world right now. If you were to look back months before you started, you wouldn't have any of that. So where you are right now is where past you would have wanted to be, before you started putting content out. So you are making progress, but in ways that you have to pay attention to. And also the fact that you're even at 10K followers, right? Oh, I am actually a 10K follower. Like I am where I once wished I'd be when I was at 10 followers, right? You are where you once wished you would be. And it's important to recognize that. It's important to congratulate yourself, to approve of yourself, to also just show respect and honor yourself for that, because your past self had to put in a lot of work and probably overcome a lot of emotional trials and maybe some insecurities to get to where you are right now. Even if where you are right now feels like nothing in the grand scheme of things, as you're looking at it right now, you're living the same kind of life, so it doesn't feel like anything's really different. If you're to really take a step back and look at it all objectively and look at what you've done so far from like the perspective of the person you were before you even started, that person would be amazed at what you've done. And you're sitting here ashamed that you're not somewhere else. You're not in a different place yet. It's really important to honor yourself for how far you've come. Because if you don't do that, if you don't honor yourself for every step you take, every new achievement you hit, even if small, you're not going to want to do more. You're not going to feel that momentum and motivation to do more. And you will self-sabotage, because you'll be like, well, if I'm not getting to this grand outcome that I want, what's the point? What's the point? I'm not there yet. I haven't done. It's like the point is the progress. The point is looking at every single step and seeing how different you are now, seeing how far you've come now, even if it's not that far in the grand scheme of things. That's the point. And it's something that I have to remind myself of constantly. I get stuck in this mindset as well. So anytime I make any video like this, where I'm telling people this is what you need to do, it's really just me telling this to myself because I will always get trapped in this. But yeah, you have to look at it objectively and realize, like, I would have never been at this place had I not started what I started. And how much did I, like, imagine how much I wanted to be here. And I'm now not letting myself recognize that I want to be here. And it's kind of sad if you look at it that way. It's sad that you're not giving yourself, your past self, your present self, the accolades that you deserve from you and nobody else. You've done something different. You've changed things. You've created things. You've put yourself out there, whatever it is. You have to honor that. You have to respect that effort, because if you can't respect it now at 10,000 followers, you're not going to respect it when you do get to 1 million followers, right? It's all about the mindset. It's all about being in the moment right now and creating this. It is about your character at the end of the day. It's about how you show up for yourself. If you don't show up for yourself now in that way, and you're waiting until you hit 1 million followers to show up for yourself that way, it's not going to happen, because you haven't cultivated that character trait, that character trait. But you do kind of have to see yourself as a character that you're stepping into, right? But this applies to any kind of journey. I always bring up the idea of weight loss or like physical fitness, because it's a more tangible example, something I think more people do than content creation. But if you're trying to lose 30 pounds and you're going day by day, week by week, and you've only lost 5 pounds so far, because the average I think is 2 pounds a week normally, typically, I don't know. But say you've only lost 5 pounds. In the grand scheme of things, it feels like you're not making any progress really. 5 pounds compared to 30, that's nothing. But in reality, 5 pounds is 5 pounds less than you were before because you put in the effort to change things, right? There's some sort of growth there. There's some sort of development in you. There's some sort of habit changes. You've shown up consistently. You've put in effort. Like, that's important stuff to recognize. And ultimately, even if you don't get to the end goal that you're trying to get to right now, if you cultivate that mindset of, it's not about the outcome, it's about the process, it's about showing myself that I'm capable, it's about showing myself that I'm going to show up and be consistent and all that stuff. Even if you got to a different outcome, you will still feel good about yourself because you're letting yourself appreciate every step of the way, appreciate your progress, even if it feels small. You're letting yourself recognize, wow, I made a change and it changed things in a small way, but it still changed things. I did that. I put that effort in. I created this. That's really important because that's then whatever happens after that doesn't necessarily matter, right? And of course, this varies between things and achievements, obviously, but I think in a general sense, if you can find the approval validation from yourself about the process and the progress you've been making, even if small, it just makes you feel generally better about yourself, no matter what end goal you get to, right? And that's part of unconditional love as well, recognizing that, yeah, I'm not exactly where I want to be yet. And also I can appreciate how far I've come. I can appreciate what I've done for myself. I can appreciate that I took a chance on myself, whatever. It makes you feel a lot better about being you, about being in your everyday life, about what you're capable of. But if you're always looking at the end goal of, I have to be this in order to be valid, you'll never approve of yourself. You'll dislike being you and being in your specific process because everyone's process is different, but yours is yours for a reason. And it's important to like yourself within your process, right? To really honor your process, to indulge in it. Like, this is yours. This is what feels good for you. This is the way you've been doing it. And that's how it needs to be. Whatever progress you're making, that's what you need to be making. And you are once where you wished you'd be. 5 months ago, you were somewhere else and you wished you would have gotten to this point that you're at now. So revel in that. Let yourself feel that. Because if you don't pay attention to it, every new step, every new bit of progress you make won't matter ultimately because you're always looking to the end goals. No, I have to be here. I have to be here. But look how much you've done. Look how much you've created. Like, enjoy it. This is the part of life. Like, this is life that's happening right now. And it's passing. And you're not letting yourself actually enjoy it and experience it because, yeah, I haven't gone to that end goal yet. I haven't gone to 1 million subscribers or followers yet. But, no one knows what the future holds. You might never get to 1 million followers. Or you might get to them tomorrow. Like, you don't know. Right? So it's just about allowing yourself to just be okay and content and appreciate yourself and honor yourself and respect your past self for putting in that work because they did something scary that doesn't feel scary to you now because now you've gotten over that hump of scariness, but it felt so scary to them and they did it for you being the present self, and you're not even honoring your past self by being content and reveling in the progress you've made. When I look at it that way, I realize, like, wow, I'm actually being so mean to myself. I'm being so mean to my past self, and she does not deserve to be treated like that, right? And again, that also then goes deeper into childhood wounds, childhood conditioning, the self-limiting beliefs that you've been taught to think about yourself. All that stuff starts getting unpacked. So, yeah, I hope this was an interesting episode. It's a little bit shorter than my other ones, but I think it's a topic that's important to share for anybody else on any kind of journey, really. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found value in it. If you want to work one-to-one with me and talk about these things in more depth, you can find me on my website. I also write books on there. I have a self-expression handbook. I have a self-worth handbook. And anything else, any other information you want to know about me, you can find on my website, katarinawrites.com. If you want to review this podcast, that'd be great. Send me a like. If you're listening to this on YouTube, feel free to subscribe. And I'll be back in the next one.